The family of Palestinian-American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh met with the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, and other officials in Washington this week to discuss accountability for her death. Akleh was killed in May during an Israeli raid in the West Bank while wearing a bulletproof vest clearly labeled with the word press. Earlier this month, the Biden administration concluded she was likely killed by an Israeli soldier, but there was, quote, no reason to believe it was intentional, end quote. Abu Akleh's family has rejected the assessment and is putting pressure on the administration to conduct a thorough investigation. The journalist's nephew spoke during a press conference earlier today.
Now is the time for action. Journalists should never be targeted while doing their job, no matter which country they're reporting from. There must be consequences for killing a U.S. citizen, a journalist, and most importantly, a human being.
Shireen Abu Akleh's niece, Lina Abu Akleh, joins us now. Tell us about what you would like to see this administration do next.
Thank you so much for having me. We would like the administration to conduct a U.S.-led investigation, a transparent and credible investigation to hold the Israeli soldiers, the Israeli forces accountable for killing my one and only Aunt Shireen. Unfortunately, a few moments ago, we got news. We got word from the State Department that President Biden will not be making this time to meet with my family during our trip to D.C. And frankly, it's very, very frustrating. We flew all the way here to D.C., even though during his trip in Palestine, he was 10 minutes away from our house. He could have met with us there. He could have made some time. And not making the effort to see us while we are in D.C. is even more disappointing. At this point, it's his duty to protect his citizen. It's the bare minimum he can do is to sit with my family and to just talk with us and hear from us directly. Unfortunately, it clearly continues to show that Shireen Abu Akleh is not a priority, even though she's an American citizen. Her being a Palestinian-American should not make her less of an American citizen.
You did meet with Secretary of State Antony Blinken. How did that come about? And can you take us in the room a little bit? What was discussed?
Yes, we met with Secretary Blinken on Tuesday. We expressed our disappointment in the way the U.S. administration has been handling Shireen's murder. And more importantly, we also asked for them to correct or to amend that statement that was released on 4th of July regarding the bullet and if shooting Shireen was intentional or not. We expressed how that statement was damaging. There were no commitments, no promises made from his end. He repeated the same statements, the same rhetoric. He made a light commitment to be more transparent with us and to continue to inform us of any new developments. However, there was no clear substantive point made regarding any steps forward. On the contrary, I felt like we left that meeting with more questions rather than having our questions answered.
When you told the Secretary of State to his face that you do not believe the statement was helpful, saying the shot was not intentional, what exactly was his reaction in that moment?
We told him that there's no way a bullet can identify intent. He said, well, you know what? We couldn't determine if it was intentional or not. So this shows there's a clear contradiction within their statements, because even Mr. Ned Price, in a briefing on the 5th of July, he also stated that there was no qualified person able to conclude if it was intentional or not. So how can they make such a statement that is so damaging to the truth and that hurts our case? So for us, we were very disappointed. At the same time, we felt like we weren't receiving enough answers from Mr. Blinken, and it felt like there was still some lack of transparency in what information he was sharing with us.
Did he give you any glimpse into the evidence that pushed that statement forward, in the sense of what they've learned from Israeli military officials or Israeli intelligence officials about what happened that day?
No, until this day, we haven't received any reports, any information regarding that so-called investigation they conducted. However, he did say that he will be talking with the security coordinator and that they will be reviewing the information. However, we're not sure if they'll be able to share anything with us yet. We asked for a deadline. He said he cannot commit to that. So we are still hoping that they'll be able to share something with us, because until this day, I feel we are left in the dark. We don't know any details of that investigation, the so-called investigation, who conducted it and how was it conducted. All we know is it was just an analysis.
Has anyone from Congress up on Capitol Hill reached out to you or your family expressing interest in this matter and in possibly investigating it further?
You know, we met with dozens of members of Congress, senators, representatives, and we feel like we have a strong congressional ally at this point. Everyone we met with has shown us a great amount of support. They've all agreed that there needs to be a thorough, U.S.-led independent investigation to get to the bottom of this, to fully understand what happened to Shireen. I mean, we all know what happened. She was clearly shot by the Israeli soldiers, but it's important, they said, to have U.S. investigation, because, you know, it's very important, and not only for our family, but for the protection of American citizens, American journalists abroad. It's important that we feel we are being protected as American citizens. So we were very glad that today we had 7 members of Congress attend our press conference, and a few others had also sent in their statements. We appreciated it. It showed that it's not just us who are not satisfied with the way the U.S. administration has been handling this, but also senators, members of Congress are not happy. They're not satisfied. This is not how you hold perpetrators accountable. A U.S. citizen was killed by a foreign army abroad, and there needs to be justice. There needs to be accountability. So we will continue our fight and our demand for justice.
Lina Abu Akleh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.